In Parashat Terumah, amongst the accoutrement of the Mishkan that are introduced is the shulchan, the table. And in Parshat Terumah, the table seems to be a really significant kli, a significant vessel for the Mishkan, and the bread that goes on top of the shulchan seems to be of secondary importance. There are 7 psukim that discuss the shulchan itself, and only one pasuk at the end that afterwards that describes the bread that goes on. Tatal shulchan lechem panim, just very, very simple. The bread of display, the showbread, goes on top of the shulchan. Okay, shulchan seems to be important. The Sforno says the shulchan is part of what makes the Mishkan, as it were, kavyachol, into God's home. A home has furniture, and so there's a menorah, there's a lamp, and there's a shulchan, there's a table, okay? And this is a way in which we are building the Mishkan as a place where God's presence can rest, and so that's it has furnishings, okay, and that seems to be the purpose of the shulchan. It's a way that we can demonstrate how we are dedicating this building of the Mishkan. Okay. However, in Vayikra, so Vayikra, the emphasis seems to switch, and the showbread itself, the lechem hapanim, seems to be significant, and 12 loaves, and they're arranged in a certain way, Lifnei Hashem, before God, and it's azkara. It's some sort of remembrance. It's supposed to evoke our remembrance before God, and then it's eaten, of course, by the Kohanim, like a not a korban that's burnt, but a korban that's eaten by us, and here the 12 and the arrangement of the 12 before God seems to evoke, back in Sefer Shemot, the stones on the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol. Okay, that's they're arranged, and in a way, Pitachta Alehem Shemot B'nai Israel, right? Like our names are on this breastplate that the Kohen is bringing with him into the Mishkan, into the Mikdash, as he's ministering. So this observation was made by Rav Amnon Bazak, who is always worth reading for Parsha Insights, and he suggests that there's really a dual function at the heart of what the Mishkan is about. It's a place of service of God, a place to bring God's presence down on earth, a place where heaven and earth meet, where physics and metaphysics meet, a point for that to happen. But it's also about us, okay, and our place which conduit for blessing from God to Klal Yisrael. That's also a purpose of the Mishkan, okay. And so it's things that the lechem hapanim then symbolize God's blessing of our food, our sustenance, and it's not a table for God, as it were. It's a symbolic table for the Jewish people, where our food is blessed by God. And I think we find in all sorts of ways that dual nature in all Jewish communal life, all Jewish communal institutions, at least the proper ones. Okay, we are our shuls, our schools, our institutions should be dedicated to the service of God and bringing God's presence to earth in every way that we know how to do. And they should also be about meeting the needs of us, of Klal Yisrael, and being a source of blessing in our lives, and that's what we try to do at shul. Shul is a place of prayer, a place of Torah study, a literal sacred space where we act with awe and reverence inside the confines of a shul. But we also serve one another and try to feed one another and provide hospitality towards one another and kindness towards one another under the rubric of a community that surrounds a shul. This Shabbat, we're having a kiddush, thanks to Ezra for sponsoring and commemorating the yard set of his father. Let's say Shabbat, we have a movie night for children. We have an open gym Shabbat afternoon, so even though it's very cold, kids can have an indoor place to play without risk of frostbite. And as I shared with the congregation yesterday, Pastor Donovan Price is coming to speak to our community following Kiddush. He's a very inspiring person. He's a street pastor. He's there when, God forbid, people are shot or even killed in Chicago. He's there praying at their sides, or at the sides of their grieving surviving family. It's maybe the hardest clergy role in the city, and he's been doing it for years. Very, very powerful spiritual service that this man engages in, and he reached out to us to show solidarity with our community in the aftermath of this wave of anti-Semitic violence earlier in the week up in West Rogers Park, attacking sister institutions, shuls, and schools that we know well. Hope to see you over the weekend. Hope to hear from you, and I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.